everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show and the pregame show of your Sachse Mustangs as they're taking on the Wylie Pirates here on a Friday night, here underneath Friday Night Lights. And excited to be here on the pregame show. And, of course, the pregame show being brought to you by, of course, the Bullet Experience. Make sure you check them out in Rowlett at 8900 Princeton Road. Just on the outside of Waterview, right there where you can go there, Melvin Bullet and Company. They've got everything that you need for training or whatever you want to do in training, whether it is preseason training, in-season training, even after training, or working on specific things to help you become a better athlete at whatever you're trying to be, whether it's football, basketball, even soccer, or whatever the case may be. Check out the Bullet Experience, and we thank them for their sponsorship. And, of course, it is the all-important week. It is, after having the rough time, as we are talking about, of course, the Sachse Mustangs here early in this season, there's a lot of things that have to work out for them as far as where they are, what's going on in the standings, who can move where, what's going to happen. And one of the important things is other teams beating other teams that are pretty good. Or even, for that matter, even some of the teams that might not be all that great beating a team that might be in front of Wylie. And that's always the important thing. But so let's talk a little bit about what's going on as far as the district is concerned. Of course, that's 9-6A. That is the district that the Sachse Mustangs play in. And then all important, now up on top there, just to give you an idea what's going on, Wylie is on top as far as district is concerned. They are 6-0, undefeated, actually out on the season. They are total 8-0 on the season, but it's that all-important 6-0 that puts them in their position as they got 2 more games. So this is a team that's going to make the playoffs. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky outside of that, because there's a 2-game lead over 2 teams right now. That being the Wylie Pirates, who are 4-2 within district. They're 5-3 overall, but they are 4-2 in district. They won last week over a football team that wasn't as good as them, so they were able to proceed to the 4-2. Now, also a team that's 4-2 are the Naaman Forest Rangers. Naaman Forest 4-2. They're 4-4 overall, but they hold on to that 3rd spot right now in the top 4. Then it's the Garland Owls, who actually have a 3-3 record, but there are a lot of teams that have a 3-3 record, including Garland, Lakeview Centennial, and, of course, your Sachse Mustangs. So right now, in the tie for 4th place, there are 4 teams, or 3 teams, looking at that spot. So all-important week this week, of course, Sachse is taking on Wylie. A good victory here puts them in pretty good shape at 4-3. That would drop Wylie to 4-3. Now, think about this. The Naaman Forest Rangers, who are 4-2 also, the Naaman Forest Rangers go against North Garland. Now, North Garland, they are 2-4, not necessarily a great football team, but this is where you want North Garland to finally show up. If you are a Sachse Mustang, you want to see that victory. So that is huge. Another huge game is the South Garland Titans taking on the Garland Owls. This is where you want South Garland to get that first victory within district. An all-important time of district. And, of course, you definitely just want Sachse to win their game so they can move up. And they would put themselves in a really good position going into the last week. And the last week of the season, they take on the North Garland Raiders. And then a lot of things have to happen. But really, it's a win and you get in kind of thing. But if they lose this game, there's some other things that can end up happening. Like we're talking about South Garland getting the victory over Garland. The Lakeview Centennial Patriots maybe coming up and, seeing where they are, we kind of want them to lose. Even though it's Wylie East and they're going to be undefeated, You kind of want to see them to lose because where they are in the standings at 3-3 with the same as the Sachse Mustangs. So if Sachse loses, that's definitely a positive in reality, but we really want that victory. So we'll be watching out for this because next week is going to be a time where you will completely take a look at this football team and see where they're going to be. But one factor that we will talk to the Eagle-Eye Bill Serna about, the weather is going to be a big factor in tomorrow night / tonight's game. It's going to be rain. It's going to be wet. And that also being said, the important thing on those other games, the game that happens on Thursday is Naaman and North Garland. The rest of these are on Friday. The Rowlett Eagles, they are in a bye, so they're going to remain 3-4 as far as that is concerned. So we're going to be watching this week. It's going to be an important week for the Sachse Mustangs as they take on a football team that is a really good football team in Wylie. So that's something that we got to look out for. Now, that being said, of course, that's the name of our show. Make sure you catch us on Sunday mornings when we talk the NFL. But this week, all important to make sure that they are where they need to be in order to make that run for the playoffs. It'll make next week's all-important game against the North Garland Raiders very important as well. We got some news about the North Garland Raider game as well, so I want to talk to you about that as well. But I will tell you, exciting time right now as far as where the Sachse Mustangs are, what they got to do. You know, basically, they win, they get in, and then with a little help, maybe they can move up to even third or fourth. It's about the best where they're going to end up. So we'll watch for that. Important time of the season. They don't want to miss the playoffs. So this should be really interesting. So we'll take a look at that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the Wylie Pirates and where they have been and what they are and what they are about ready to do here on the Couch Potato Sports Show and your Sachse Mustangs Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors.
The prospect of retirement can be exciting and scary at the same time. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. What is it? How does it work? It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. Because these decisions are so important, my firm has assembled an informational packet on Social Security. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we are a motivated team of coaches with the mindset of helping you achieve and reach your highest goals. Having developed and trained over 100 Division I athletes as well as Division II athletes, even professional athletes, the Bullet team definitely has the knowledge and mindset to take you to the next level. Check out our new 22,000 square foot facility and 3,000 square foot weight room, along with 4,500 square feet of outdoor turf and covered training area, along with football and soccer fields. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Casso Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance and save a ton. Casso Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on. Yeah, but is it fresh?
And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show and the pregame show of your Sachse Mustangs as they take on the Wylie Pirates here on a Friday night. You're catching the pregame show here early on Thursday or just right before the game. We play it both times, so if you don't have the opportunity to see it early, you can still get it right before the game. We kick that off at 6:15 on Friday night, and we'll also put the pregame show up at 10 o'clock tomorrow or 10 o'clock Thursday. So as we get set, what's going to happen here? Well, it's the Wylie Pirates. Listen, this is a good football team. They're always good, right? This is a football team that has had their way about them all around. Again, they are 5-3 out on the season. They're 4-2 within district. All important record there. Okay, they're 4-0 at home, but they're actually on the road. And they are 1-3 on the road. So that is a huge number as well. But they did win last week. So what are the Wylie Pirates? What are they doing? Well, it's a football team that fought, tooth and nail to get where they are. The out-of-district games for Wylie, they took on Richardson Pierce. They got that victory 24-7. They came back for the second game out of district and got beat by Hebron. Hebron beat them 28-13. Then they jumped into district, an all-important time where you got to get the wins. And they started off with South Garland. They got a 44-0 victory there. Big time second quarter for them as they scored 22 in the second quarter. Then they had North Garland, and this was a fight, guys. I'm telling you right now. 28-24, Wylie came out up on top, but they didn't score in the second half of that game. So they went in at halftime with a 28-12 lead. And North Garland was only able to score 12. Then they had the Lakeview Centennial Patriots, a team that the Sachse Mustangs lost in overtime. And the Lakeview Centennial Patriots beat them 20-10. So that is a close thing to look at. Also, Wylie got the victory against Rowlett 30-10. That's also a team where the Sachse Mustangs got the victory. And in a great game, I actually attended because it was on a Friday night. We had a Thursday night game. I walked over and saw Wylie East take on Wylie, and Wylie East got that victory 26-19. Of course, they're undefeated. And then just this last week, the Wylie Pirates took on the Neiman Forest Rangers, got the victory 35-14. So what's going on? What are we about ready to see? Well, all we got to do is take a look at the stats that are going to be heading our way. And the stats are going to be all important in this game because they're kind of even, maybe not. I'll give you an example. You're talking about a football team that loves to run the football, but they also like to pass. It's a very well-balanced game plan. You also have a quarterback that also comes out of the backfield as well, running the football as well as being the man at the quarterback position. So let's talk about Jagger Bale at the quarterback position. He is 172. He's got 1,068 yards, 12 touchdowns, so only 7 interceptions, and he's completing 55% of his passes. So who's he throwing the football to? Well, Chris Lewis with 28 receptions, 396 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns out on the season. He's averaging about 14 yards a catch. Then Martavian Sanders, he's 19 catches for 208 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns, averaging close to 11 yards. Then Sean Carter, 17 catches, 159 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns, averaging just over 9 yards. Hayden Stewart with 10 catches and 114 yards, averaging just over 11 yards. He's got a touchdown. Dane Farley, 9 catches, 81 yards, averaging about 9 yards a catch, and he's got a touchdown. So they spread the ball with touchdowns amongst 5 players on the offensive side of the ball and the wide receivers. Some of the other wide receivers we may or may not hear from. Dawson Cleveland, 2 catches, 33 yards. He's just averaging over 17 or just over 16 yards a carry. Lane Chapman, 4 catches, 22 yards, 5.5 per catch. 1 catch for 21 yards for Crosby, 2 catches for 20 yards for Martez Williams. And then Jackson Draper, 2 catches, 14 yards. And then Nwinti, he is 1 catch, 10 yards. So now we go into the juggernaut of the football game in reality, and this is going to be one of the things that the Sachse Mustangs are going to have to take care of. That is the running game that's going to be headed from the Wylie Pirates. Lane Chapman, 154 rushes, 556 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season, averaging just over 3.5 yards a carry. Then Lance Crosby, 26 catches, 195 yards, averaging just over 7.5 yards attempt. He's got a touchdown. Then Jagger Bell, a guy that when they get close to the red zone, this guy's going to be taking off with the ball as well. 45 rushes, 113 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns rushing the football out of the quarterback position. So we're going to have to watch for him. Then Mancini, 14 catches for mark that 14 rushes, 48 yards, just over 3.5 yards a carry. Sean Carter, 6 catches, 37 yards. 6 catches, 37 runs, and just over 6 yards a rush. And then Roman Bucci, 4 rushes, 35 yards, just over 8.5 yards. Then they got a bunch of guys that have rushed the ball 1 time. So a lot of things going on here. A lot of things that the Sachse Mustangs are going to have to watch. Got a 2-headed monster in the backfield. They got to very much pay attention to. And then they rush the ball. There's going to be a lot of play action happening in this football game. This one's probably more obvious than the other games that the Sachse Mustangs have played where they had a couple dual threat. This is a real dual threat coming the Sachse Mustangs way, and they're going to have to be on top of that. Whether or not that happens, we're going to find out. But I will say this. As I looked at through all the stats and looked at the numbers, went back, watched some of these games, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a close football game. Of course, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I will say this. This is one of those games where before you even get started, the coaching staff is talking to the team. This is the most important game of the year right now. They had to win out. They got 2 games in a row underneath their belts. And they got to continue on. They have to win 4 in a row in order for them to make the playoffs. That's just basically what it's about. But this one being the most important because it is going to be the tougher opponent more so than the North Garland Raiders. And listen, North Garland is no slouch. They got to go in and win that game too. But losing this game, it kind of changes the tone on what will end up happening. And then we'll have to see what happens where a lot of teams will end up in the standings as far as that is concerned. So we'll watch out for that. It's very important for them to get off to a really good start. So we'll be looking forward to that. Now, that being said, of course, that's the name of the show on Sunday. This important game, we will definitely be up on top of. We'll be watching and listening to other games and getting the score updates throughout this one because a lot of these other games that are going on. And remember, Rowlett, again, is on the bye. South Garland's taking on Garland. We really want to see a South Garland show up to take on Garland. And then Lakeview Centennial Patriots, we kind of want to see them lose to Wylie East in reality. And then we'll know more about the Thursday night game, Naaman Forest and North Garland on Friday. And we'll talk about that before we kick this thing off on Friday night. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, it's time to talk to the Eagle Eye Bill Serna as we look at it all when we come back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show and your Sachse Mustangs Radio Network.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, Dickey's Barbecue has done all the cooking and you take all the credit. Come see us today at our Rowlett location, 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. Whether you want to eat in or take it home, we will fix you up. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Here at Fit Body Boot Camp, located in Sachse, the solution is here. Fast, long-lasting weight loss results and the healthy lifestyle you need to keep them. The key to your fat loss success is our signature afterburn workouts, as well as support and motivation from our world-class coaches, and an easy-to-follow nutrition program to help you keep the fat off. Visit your local Fit Body Boot Camp in Sachse today to see the difference for yourself, or give us a call at 214-463-3005. That's 214-463-3005. Fit Body Boot Camp, Sachse. Sachse Ice House is a non-smoking craft beer and beer pub located in the heart of Sachse. The Ice House was opened to provide a friendly, clean, and female-friendly environment. Sachse was lacking a place for service industry, date nights, and girls' nights, as well as happy hours. Excellent service and top-notch food are our priority. On Tuesday, we offer 79-cent wings, as well as half-price burgers on Mondays. So check us out at the Ice House, located at 6501 Highway 78 in Sachse, or give us a call at 469-304-1550, or check us out on the web at SachseIcehouse.com. Go Mustangs! And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. Let's bring him on. It is the Eagle-Eye Bill Serna. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay. We missed you last week, but that was mostly because there was some kind of accident and messed up the internet around my neighborhood, so we couldn't do what we normally do. So we did the pregame show kind of live while we were over there. But that being said, you know, we are in a vital time of the season, obviously, for the Sachse Mustangs. And what I've been trying not to do is going back to the Lakeview Centennial game where overtime lost, because that's the one that's really kind of holding us back, especially with what's going on where everybody is sitting in the standings as far as where we are in the district. So I don't know about you, but man, I want that one back.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're not in this situation just by one game, by one half, because we had opportunities there at the end of the regulation that we could have put this game away. Yep. So there's the whole outlook right now could be totally different. We could sit in number 2 seed, tied with Wylie going into the game tomorrow night. And it could be a whole different atmosphere where now we're coming out of our bye week a couple weeks ago and knowing that we have to win every game. So that's where we're at right now is and like I said, it coming out of the bye week, every game is a playoff game. You lose one, you're out. And that's still the fact. And that's going to be the fact for the next 2 games.
And this one, it doesn't get any easier. I mean, granted, we kind of got lucky getting out of the bye when we got Garland and got the victory against Garland. And then this last week, nice to see some good, consistent play as far as the Sachse Mustangs are concerned.
Well, and yeah, I think the thing with Garland. Garland really ignited this team because Garland's a good team.
Yes, they are.
A lot of good players, and to come out and dominate the way that Sachse did, I think really put a light under their fire, and they really showed it with South Garland. I mean, it got out of control early, which is something that Sachse, even though it was South Garland, it's it's not where they struggled or they were able just to get this and that along the way. They dominated from the very kickoff.
Yep.
And so, and same with Garland. Garland, they took control right away. So I think the offense is a whole different level than it was before the bye week. And that's what the key is happening right now. Defense still has some issues, still some struggles. They really got a momentum jump from last week's game. So that's where the big key is going to be for this game tomorrow night against Pirates.
Well, there's a lot of things as far as the game is concerned, but I'll say utilization of players that are not normally where they're supposed to be. All you got to do is take a look at the quarterback position. We got a running back. Number 11, King, is actually running the football. We're seeing the utilization of some of the wide receivers now. We're getting Austin in the end zone, getting some plays and things. So now is a vital time of finding where the best player fits for the game that they're playing. It's not anything, I think, and this might be me, it's not anything where you're going in, well, that guy's going to play that position and that's where he's going to stay. It may be in some positions, yes, but when you got guys that, and in baseball, we call them utility guys. That's exactly what we got going on here at Sachse, because we got about 4 or 5 guys that are utility guys. Norberg is another one that comes to mind.
Yeah, and actually, absolutely. He was listed at the beginning of the year as a running back.
Yep.
That's where we have him listed every week. But he keeps going up on defense, making huge plays, fumble recoveries, touchdowns on the defensive side. So he's come up big. But back to Grayson King, same thing. He started the year as our starting quarterback.
Yep.
And last 2 games, besides Akana, he's had the most carries. So, you know what? They're utilizing their players where they can. And, back to King, he's a multi-facet because – yeah, he's been running the ball for us, but at any time he can wind up and throw that ball as well.
Absolutely, and that was one of the things I was thinking about. They get him in there where instead of he's running north and south, if he goes east and west, he's got an opportunity to put that ball in the air, and that's an advantage as well, depending on what kind of play is being called at that time and at what part of the game that play is being called.
Well, and you're absolutely right. Coach Behrens has that in his back pocket.
Yep.
I would not be surprised to see it. I would not be surprised to see it in a key point in the game, because longer that he doesn't use that type of ability, it's gonna sooner or later it's gonna be used, and it's gonna benefit Sachse because they're gonna get an extra opportunity out of King.
Yeah, especially on those crossing patterns. If one breaks open, he gets a couple of yards ahead of someone, and King's actually running in. He recognizes it over the top. He might have an opportunity to make a play. You're right. You never know. See, and this is the time where you pull out the bag and find the tricks and the treats inside, and what they'll end up throwing here. Obviously, a couple of days before Halloween, of course. The tricks and that'll be interesting to see too. I mean, if you're going to pull out all the stops, especially in this game, let's be honest. The North Garland game is Raider game is a more winnable game in reality for Sachse right now. But this one here, I'm glad this was the one, for the order of the game, because if you get a good win at against Sachse, going into that game against North Garland, they'll just feel more confident in reality, coming off a 3-game winning streak.
Well, and it's huge because Wylie right now is sitting at the number 2 seed in the district, and you have 4 teams that are all 3-3 within the district. So a lot of movement still to happen with only 2 weeks left in the season. So you get a win against a team like Wylie this late in the season can really boost you going into that last week and then into the playoffs.
And just an idea, just to let everybody know, Wylie East takes on Lakeview. We're actually rooting for the team that's on top right now. We want to see that victory. South Garland and Garland, you definitely want to see South Garland step it up against Garland. I think that's going to be a really good game. In fact, if that game was on a Thursday, I'd go see that game just for the fact. But the Thursday game is Neiman Forest Rangers against North Garland, and it was actually South Garland that's taking on Garland. The Neiman Forest Rangers get North Garland. So we definitely want to see South Garland step up against Garland. And so they're at their home field on that one as well. So a lot of things can happen here just this weekend.
Well, and with Garland right now, we're tied with them in the district at 3-3. The advantage we have is that we have that tiebreaker against them. So right now we are ahead of them technically in the conference. So as long as, even if they do win, as long as we stay at least even with them, that's going to make a big difference for us. What we want to do is we got to take care of Wylie, and we got to take care of North Garland, because we're going to be right there with North Garland as well. So
absolutely.
So you definitely got to take care of R2. And then you're right. We do need a little bit of help. We need a little bit of help on where we're going to position. We already know that Wylie East has clinched the division.
Yep.
Whether they go to the Division I tournament or the Division II tournament is going to depend on the student population. That we have to do and find out. But we know that. So if they go to the number 2, then really it's just going to be the division tournament. Then there's just the runner-up. And in Division I, still wide open. You know, Sachse takes care of Wylie tomorrow, and then it takes care of North Carolina tomorrow, depending on what Wylie does. Tomorrow, if Wylie and if Sachse beats Wylie, they're both 4-3 in the district.
Yep.
Tied. Sachse has a tiebreaker.
Right.
Even if they both win the last week. Mm-hmm. Sachse would have that tiebreaker. They could still end up being the top seed in the Division I tournament.
Absolutely. And it's so funny when you think about that. It's all the things that the nuances, but on the last 2 weeks of the season, you know, and then it's still not let up time, because they still really need to go in and beat South Garland and the Raiders as well, so to help that scenario work out. That being said, we got the Wylie Pirates this week, and this is a team, and I was looking at things that were happening. I went back and watched a couple of the games, and what I found interesting is that this team right here is probably, out of all the teams, has the best two-headed monster. Okay, a running back and a quarterback, and they both run the ball, and they don't just run it a little, they run it a lot. And also the fact that he can just pick up and throw that ball. He's, you know, so the actual looking at the football team as far as, you know, pass ratio to rush ratio, it's right there, even though it kind of looks like there's more rushing going on because a lot of guys have rushed the ball, but they're really even right there. I think the difference maker is the fact that you got a quarterback that does it on a consistent level, and especially in the red zone.
Yes, you have 14 players on that Wylie Pirate team that have run the ball this year. 14 players. Usually a team will have about 6 players, maybe 7 players that have run the ball this year. But your big one is going to be Lane Chapman. He's rushed it 154 times this year. So he's gotten that ball a lot. 154 times. I'm not the greatest with math, but that's about 24 carries a game that he's. But if you take out the amount of rushes he has, second best most runner is the quarterback, Jagger Bell. He's got 45 carries. So you take that 45 carries, you're absolutely right. It's very balanced offense from rushing to passing, because Jagger Bell, he's also thrown the ball 172 yards. So you're right. The balance of the team is right neck and neck of what they do. But the offense has the ball a lot. They are very controlled offense. The offense likes to control the game and work their way down the field. Bell right now, you know, he has 12 touchdowns. He's a little high on the interceptions, which right now has been a huge plus for Sachse, as he's got 7 so far for this year. So he can definitely sling the ball, but he can sometimes sling it to the wrong team as well.
Well, he can also tuck it and run in for a touchdown. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns this season. And that right there tells you a lot what's going to end up happening when they get down near the goal line. You don't know what's coming your way, so you better be guessing very well on the defensive side of the ball, or being able to at least be able to have a guy that will spot bail in reality to find out what he may or may not be doing at that on any given play near the end zone.
Yeah, and Coach Holland, over the years, he's been at Wylie for a while now. He's not down the field passer. He's not over the top a lot. He's a lot of these screens and these hitches where they let the players do the work. And his top, he's got 4 main receivers. His main receiver is Chris Lewis, and he's got 29 receptions, but a lot of their work they're done is after the catch, and that's what they're the type that they're going to have clock control, they're going to have offense control, and they're going to move the ball down the field and keep that clock running, and just bite away and wear down those defenses.
Right. And here's the good thing. When I was looking at the players and the guys that are actually working out there, we're not getting a lot of the running backs out of the backfield. Every once in a while you'll see that, but that's not a main thing. So when I was looking at that, I'm expecting that in this game. See, I mean, I kind of consider myself an idiot, but if I can see it, everybody can see it, and they got to do something different. I bet you a dime we're going to see a lot of stuff out of the backfield from the Wylie Pirates on Friday.
Well, I tell you what, if they do that, it's going to be outside of what they normally run, because Chapman only has 4 receptions out of the backfield so far this year.
Yep.
So really, it's just him being the workhorse on the running game with Bell also utilizing his feet. But like I said, they're a quick strike team, not so much quick strike down the field, but quick strike plays moving down the field. A quick pass, a quick hitch here. Nothing that's going to a lot of 5-step drops for Bell.
And who knows what we're going to see in reality as far as Wylie is concerned. And same thing with Sachse. Sachse, they're moving guys. Like we said, we got King out there rushing the football. We got Akana who's averaging close to 10 yards a carry each time he catches the football. And then they're spreading the ball around as far as the wide receivers on, whether it's Creel, even last week, Austin got involved, got in for the touchdown and caught a couple balls. So I think we're going to see a lot of different things, because the simple fact of the matter is what you said. You lose a game, your chances of making the playoffs are almost slim to none. So you got to come out and you got to bring everything you got.
Well, and Sachse's offense last 2 weeks has dominated the offensive numbers in our district. They've averaged 46 points in the last 2 games. They're averaging in the 2 weeks over 600 yards of total yards. So the offense right now is clicking, where it was really struggling in the beginning. So you're getting the offense there. You're seeing glimpses with the defense. I think the biggest challenge with the defense is getting to the end of the game. Their biggest challenge is the first half. We've been in almost every game. Other than the Prosper game, we've been in almost every game at halftime. Even the not the North Garland, but the Naaman Forest game we lost, it was 12-7 at halftime. Ended up losing by 20 points. But it's how the adjustments are made there during the second half.
Popacana is going to have to be the guy. I mean, like you said, he's the workhorse. 95 rushes, 837 yards for this young man, almost 9 yards to carry, 7 touchdowns. He's got to be your workhorse. And also, I go back to this, as you're going to pull it out. I would love to see Akana out of the backfield and seeing if they can get him out there. Because more the fact that if he gets past that first level, he beats his way through rushing. He's already behind him. He's going to have more yards, more green up there for him to create more yards, and that will be within a carry. Like they say, a walk is just as good as a hit in baseball. We'll bring him out of the backfield, get him behind that second level, and let him run with where the green's going to be.
And that would be a great thing to do. I will tell you right now, Akana does not have one catch
Not
sure.
one. I noticed that. I was, and that's this is the game you do it.
Exactly. If you want to get them off on their heels, get Wylie on their heels, you get them out of the backfield,
Right.
and you throw to them out of the backfield. One thing that I really look forward to, and we haven't seen it much this year, is having Harris and Akana in the backfield.
Oh yeah.
Because Harris was out for a game, Akana was out for a couple games, and then last week Akana was there in the first half. Harris didn't come into the second half. I would like to see them that rotation coming through.
Yes.
Because you're having two totally different style runners. Where you're having Akana with a little bit of finesse, the good moves and the cuts in and out. Where Harris is a bruise them, I'm going to run you over type of player.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'd like to see that as a rotation.
I'm looking forward to this one. I'm actually really excited about this one. I think obviously the most important game of the season is the one that they just got, this week, as last week was the most important one. So as those games keep going, the excitement of the games keep going. So I'm looking forward to this one. And obviously we want to see them make the playoffs. And then we'll see obviously what happens when they take on the North Carolina Raiders next Friday over at Williams Stadium.
You know what? It's our first year calling Sachse. When we called Rowlett before, only one season did we not call playoffs. We've had a good history of being able to call playoffs in some great atmospheres. We've gotten to call it the Cotton Bowl. We've been able to call down at Baylor Stadium. We want to continue that. We want to see really, I want to keep seeing this thing that's going forward right now, and that's going in the right direction, and to keep doing it.
Definitely. So that's going to do it for us here on the pregame show. As we covered it all, I covered all the other little things. I brought in the Eagle Eye for a more precise look at what we might get here in tonight's game. I'm excited. You can't always tell that. I'm always excited. So I can't believe the season's almost over. I cannot believe we have already called, 7 foot, eight football games already. We got 9, 10 to go. And hopefully we'll get 11, maybe even 12 as far as the playoffs are concerned. So that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. So for the Eagle Eye Bill Serna, I'm Sonny Clark. We'll catch you on Friday night underneath the lights of Homer B. Johnson Stadium. Everybody have a good one. We'll check you later. Bye-bye.